So you want to know, what will the market look like this fall compared to how are things going this summer? We're going to take a small time out from the weekly housing market update as not much has changed from last week. So let's really dive into, though, what has completely changed that is causing a lot of people to need more information to make a decision. So thanks for joining me, Justin Martin, on this week's National Housing Market Weekly Update. As always, keeping you current. So as you can see here, taking you back to July of 2017, median days on market is a big indicator of what's going to happen with home prices because of the reaction of homeowners as their home stays on the market. So you can see in July of 21, pretty much July of 2019, 18, 17, we hit the peak of the home selling market and the median days on market starts to increase. The challenge with that, as you can see, is if we go back to 17, 18, 19, upwards to 80 to 100 days on market. And when you go back to 21 and 22, you can see that never once did we get really above 60 days on market outside of the end of 2022, which you can see that dramatic climb from an average days on market of about 3 weeks or 20-ish days all the way up to almost 80. That was the summer correction that we experienced last year. That again, the concern would be if that number continued to climb, because remember, a healthy market, median days on market, is somewhere between that 80 to 100 days. The challenge is we've just been in a dramatically supply strained market for many years. If you remember, the compounding effect of the home builders, starts, completions, and lack of new homes coming to the market. So as you can see, over the last several weeks, our median days on market has pretty much just stayed the same. And we're going to continue to follow how much of an impact do we really have over the next several months climbing out of the fall market. Now, remember, what can we look into when we say, well, what is most likely going to happen in the fall market is what we can look at are a couple indicators, which is the median price of homes newly in contract, as you can see here, is that we are higher than where we were last year. And the challenge with that is as the median price of homes, if it continues to show this strength, well, then that most likely is due to the fact that the demand is still strong for, again, the lack of supply that we have. So an indicator for fall is you start looking at this number, July, August, September. If that number does not decline, the likelihood of the fall market remains that it should become or remain quite strong. And the biggest reason for that is the lack of new listings coming to the market. And we'll talk about that a little bit if you really take this slide right here, as you look at the overall interest rates. The challenge with the interest rates is the fact that they are dramatically higher than where they were in 15, 16, 17, 18. And you could kind of see when inventory rose in 2018 because mortgage rates went up to 5%. In 2020, they dramatically lowered because of where the interest rate was. And then as you look at the inventory spike in 2022, as interest rates started to rise in summer as well. So the big indicator for what we're running into here is a lot of these people who have purchased homes over the last decade are most likely going to keep that home, because an interest rate in the low 2, 3, or 4s is something that you could retain for a very long period of time based on where home values are, with a very strong predictability that you can improve your opportunity of making an investment property because of where rents are and the mortgage rate that they currently have on that primary home. Now, the challenge with that is, again, if there are no new homes being built, which thank goodness there are more coming, but we've had so much lack and need for that supply, as you can see here over the next several years, where the listings will come from is all these people are buying over the last year, and the next several years, we may return back to a more seasonality of people selling maybe every 5, 7, 9 years, as opposed to the 13 years that we were getting to that people were holding on for the length or lifetime of their home. before they transacted again. So the real takeaway from this graph is that many people have predicted that home ownership will only continue to separate the wealth classes as it always has, as there is a lot more apartments being built and the challenge of affordability leaning people to the decision to rent. And that decision, compounded over many years, causes them to be in a situation where affordability does not change. For most people, renting is a period of time that everybody will experience. However, the goal of getting away from renting to own that first home is one that is even more important now as you look at the challenge of supply and the challenge of affordability with where the mortgage rates are. So remember, as demand is still very strong for the lack of supply, if mortgage rates decrease, the only change would be the amount of demand of people coming to the market. So remember, as we look at the median days on market, as we look at the reason for why it's still very healthy and why the fall market looks to be very healthy is purely based off the fact that there are not a lot of new listings come in the market. So that of the lack of supply and the average days of market is allowing these homes to get under contract within a time frame that is suitable for most homeowners, leading to less price adjustments. So as you can see here, the percentage of properties needing a price adjustment each week as we move forward into August, you'll see that number will be even less than where we were last year. And these were the main indicators that we wanted to follow, was the median price of new listings and seeing if that demand is still there, the median days on market, because that is most likely the time frame at which most sellers would find appropriate to wait to get their home sold without adjusting the price, reducing the price. And so as you can see, typical seasonality, we see price adjustments. And so we'll continue to follow this. As for many people, we are looking at different segments of the market, because as you can see here, as you start to follow different markets, you're seeing that the percent of prices decreased in certain areas are just a little bit higher. You've got a couple areas in Texas, a couple areas in Florida, Louisiana. These are all places that are seeing upwards to 40 to 50% price adjustments, which is a lot different than where we were several years ago, because of some of these market centers, even ours locally here, Denver, Aurora, Broomfield, 42% needing price adjustments. They saw a massive rate of acceleration in home price appreciation. So some of those homes, that of what they're trying to sell for, are impacted just a little differently. So remember, the whole takeaway from this is the value of your local market experts. If you ever want to schedule time with me here locally in Colorado, happy to walk you through predictability for your situation. And as always, I'll connect you with the top 1% all across the nation if you're looking in other market centers. But the overall takeaway for fall is that it is most likely a very healthy housing market. It's going to lead into most likely a 2024 home price appreciation market, meaning year over year. And the challenge is that if mortgage rates do decrease, we will only most likely see increased demand while we still have a lack of supply. So remember, the national market is healthy, which is what makes most people locally feel confident to take action and make a decision. And then obviously in certain local markets, they're impacted a little differently from what has happened over the last 12 to 18 months, as many times in real estate, what starts in the West takes several months to move to the East. And then we have a typical seasonality or cycle in real estate, and the next 5 to 7 years are looking pretty strong. So for many people, it may be a good time to look at the appropriate seasonality of when to make change and start preparing for 2023 and 2024. Justin Martin, as always, keeping you current, and it does matter, and your thoughts matter. So please share in the comments and or reach out if there's anything